There is a tower in the center of Kuala Lumpur that was supposed to change how the world viewed Malaysia forever. Rising to an astonishing 453 meters, the massive skyscraper, known as Exchange 106, was designed to become the ultimate symbol of Malaysia's arrival as a global financial powerhouse. It was meant to compete with the skylines of Singapore, Dubai, London, and Hong Kong. Politicians promised it would transform the country into Southeast Asia's next major business capital. Investors poured billions into the dream, and for a moment, it seemed like the future had finally arrived. But almost immediately after the tower began rising into the sky, something darker started following it. Corruption allegations exploded across international headlines. Billions of dollars connected to the infamous 1MDB scandal disappeared. Global investigations began stretching from Malaysia to the United States. Luxury lifestyles funded by stolen money shocked the world. And suddenly, the skyscraper that was supposed to represent national pride became linked to one of the largest financial scandals in modern history. Then came COVID-19. Tourism collapsed, offices emptied, investors pulled back, and today, despite its glowing crown dominating the skyline, Exchange 106 stands at the center of legal battles, financial losses, and questions about whether Malaysia's ambition grew faster than its foundation of trust. Because this is no longer just the story of a building, it is the story of how one tower became a symbol of a nation trying to outrun its own shadow. In the early 2010s, Malaysia was aggressively trying to reinvent itself on the global stage. The country no longer wanted to be viewed simply as a destination known for beaches, rainforests, and street food. Political leaders wanted something much bigger. They wanted Kuala Lumpur to become one of Asia's most important financial capitals, a city capable of competing directly with Singapore and Hong Kong for international business, investment, and global prestige. At the center of that vision was a massive development project called the Tun Razak Exchange, often shortened to TRX. Spanning roughly 70 acres in the heart of the capital city, the district was designed to become Malaysia's version of Canary Wharf in London or Wall Street in New York. Luxury offices, hotels, retail centers, restaurants, residential towers, and financial institutions would all be concentrated inside one futuristic district built to impress the world. But every massive project needs a centerpiece. And for then, Prime Minister Najib Razak, that centerpiece would become Exchange 106. The skyscraper was designed to dominate the skyline at 453 meters tall, instantly making it one of the tallest office towers in Southeast Asia. Its glowing crown was carefully engineered to symbolize wealth, ambition, and Malaysia's economic future. The message behind the tower was clear. Malaysia had arrived. The country was no longer satisfied being seen as a secondary player in the region. It wanted global attention. To make that vision possible, the Malaysian government partnered with Indonesia's powerful Mulia Group, a major real estate conglomerate with decades of experience building luxury developments across Southeast Asia. In 2015, agreements were signed to push the project forward, and the scale of the numbers involved immediately shocked observers. According to reports referenced in the original video, the land transaction alone reached approximately 665 million ringgit. This was never intended to be an ordinary skyscraper. It was designed as a declaration of national ambition visible from every corner of the city. But almost as soon as construction accelerated, the political and financial foundations supporting the project began collapsing. The same year, major agreements for the tower moved forward. The world started learning about the growing 1MDB scandal. International media outlets published explosive allegations involving billions of dollars connected to Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund. Suddenly, the tower rising above Kuala Lumpur was no longer viewed only as a symbol of progress. It became connected to something much darker, a scandal that would eventually damage Malaysia's reputation across the world and permanently change how many people viewed the country's future. The moment the 1MDB scandal exploded into international headlines, everything surrounding Exchange 106 changed forever. What had originally been promoted as Malaysia's proud financial future suddenly became associated with accusations of corruption, money laundering, and stolen national wealth on a staggering global scale. According to the original report, investigations revealed that billions of dollars connected to Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund had allegedly been diverted through shell companies, luxury purchases, and international financial networks stretching across multiple countries. The scandal quickly grew far beyond a domestic political controversy. It became one of the biggest financial investigations the modern world had ever seen. In 2015, reports published by major international media organizations claimed that then Prime Minister Najib Razak had received enormous sums of money into his personal accounts. The situation escalated rapidly as authorities in several countries began investigating transactions linked to the fund. Eventually, the United States Department of Justice described the case as the largest kleptocracy investigation in its history. That statement alone sent shockwaves through global financial markets. Because when the world's largest economy publicly labels your national financial scandal as one of the worst corruption cases ever investigated, the reputational damage spreads instantly. What made the scandal even more surreal was the extravagant way much of the money was allegedly spent. According to investigations referenced in the report, funds connected to the scandal were allegedly used to purchase luxury real estate in places like Beverly Hills, New York, and London. Expensive artwork, luxury yachts, and lavish lifestyles became symbols of the scandal's excess. One of the most shocking revelations involved money allegedly linked to financing the Hollywood film The Wolf of Wall Street, a movie literally centered around greed, fraud, and financial corruption. The irony was impossible for the world to ignore, and standing directly in the middle of all this chaos was the massive TRX development and its centerpiece, Exchange 106. The district that was supposed to symbolize Malaysia's rise now carried the reputation of being tied to one of the world's most infamous corruption scandals. According to the report, billions of ringgit originally intended for development projects connected to TRX had allegedly been misappropriated to deal with debts and financial problems tied to one MDB. The money was disappearing, international trust was collapsing, and yet the skyscraper itself kept rising higher above the city. That is what made the situation so strange to many observers. Even while investigations, arrests, lawsuits, and global media scrutiny intensified, construction on the tower continued. The cranes kept moving, the concrete kept pouring, and the skyline of Kuala Lumpur kept changing. But by this point, the meaning of the building had completely transformed. What was once intended to represent national success now increasingly looked like a giant reminder of political ambition colliding with one of the largest financial scandals in modern history. Even after the one MDB scandal damaged Malaysia's global reputation, there was still hope that Exchange 106 could eventually recover and become the financial centerpiece the government originally imagined. Construction continued despite the controversy. Investors tried to stay optimistic. International companies were still being targeted as future tenants. And by December 2019, the tower was finally completed. Standing at 106 floors, with massive premium office space and one of the most recognizable crowns in Southeast Asia, the skyscraper was ready to begin its next chapter. But then something happened that nobody could control. Within just a few months of the tower opening, the entire world shut down. The arrival of COVID-19 created a disaster, almost perfectly timed to destroy the tower's business model. Exchange 106 had been built around the idea of international corporate activity, foreign banks, multinational companies, business travelers, conferences, luxury hotels, and high-value office tenants operating inside a brand new financial district. But suddenly, offices everywhere became empty. International travel collapsed, corporate expansion plans froze, and tourism in Malaysia experienced one of the worst crashes in the country's modern history. According to the report, Malaysia had welcomed approximately 27.4 million international visitors back in 2014, making it one of Southeast Asia's most visited destinations. Tourism supported millions of jobs across hotels, restaurants, transportation, and local businesses. But when the pandemic hit, the numbers collapsed at terrifying speed. International arrivals reportedly dropped by roughly 84% in 2020. Then conditions became even worse in 2021, when visitor numbers reportedly fell to only around 130,000 international tourists for the entire year. For a country that once welcomed tens of millions annually, the collapse was catastrophic. The timing could not have been worse for Exchange 106. The tower had just opened with enormous financial expectations attached to it. Developers expected major corporate tenants to rapidly fill the building's premium office floors. International banks were supposed to help transform TRX into a thriving financial district filled with wealthy business travelers and global executives. Instead, the world entered lockdown almost immediately after the project's completion. And while the global economy eventually began recovering, the financial damage inside the companies connected to the tower kept growing. According to figures mentioned in the report, the company managing the development was reportedly facing massive losses and billions in liabilities by 2022. That created a much darker question surrounding the future of the tower. This was no longer simply a story about bad timing caused by a pandemic. It was becoming a story about whether the business behind one of Southeast Asia's most ambitious skyscrapers was financially sustainable at all. For many Malaysians, the symbolism became painful. The skyscraper that was meant to announce the country's arrival into the future had instead opened during one of the darkest economic moments in modern global history. And rather than becoming a symbol of unstoppable progress, Exchange 106 increasingly started looking like a monument trapped between ambition, scandal, and financial uncertainty. As the world slowly emerged from the pandemic, many people expected Exchange 106 to finally stabilize. Offices were reopening, tourism numbers were gradually recovering, and the Malaysian government was pushing hard to restore international confidence. But instead of moving towards stability, the tower became trapped inside an enormous legal and financial battle that would threaten its future all over again. According to the original report, the conflict centered around ownership, debt obligations, and accusations that eventually escalated into an international dispute involving both the Malaysian government and Indonesia's powerful Mulia Group. The roots of the conflict reportedly traced back to 2017, when the 1MDB scandal had already begun damaging confidence around the TRX project. Financing for the development became increasingly difficult because many banks and investors no longer wanted to be connected to a project linked to one of the world's most infamous financial scandals. To keep the tower alive, Malaysia's Ministry of Finance stepped in and reportedly took a controlling 51% stake in the company responsible for developing Exchange 106. The arrangement was intended to stabilize the project temporarily, with provisions allowing the original developers to later buy back shares under certain conditions. But then COVID-19 changed everything. Financial pressure increased, deadlines were missed, and disagreements between both sides intensified. By 2024, the situation exploded into a full legal confrontation. According to the report, a subsidiary linked to Malaysia's Ministry of Finance filed lawsuits, seeking to take complete control of the remaining shares connected to the project. The legal dispute quickly became highly controversial because the amount involved in the proposed acquisition reportedly triggered accusations of unfair treatment from the Indonesian side. The Mulia Group argued that it had invested enormous amounts of money into the project over many years, including construction funding, land contributions, and development costs. From their perspective, the Malaysian government was trying to take control of one of Southeast Asia's most valuable towers under conditions they considered deeply unfair. The dispute eventually escalated into international arbitration proceedings tied to investment protections within the ASEAN region. At that point, the situation stopped looking like a normal corporate disagreement and started resembling a geopolitical financial conflict with serious implications for foreign investor confidence. Then came another shocking development. According to the report, the company connected to operating the tower was placed under receivership in 2024, with outside management brought in to help preserve the asset's value. For many observers, this was deeply symbolic. Less than 5 years after completion, one of Malaysia's most ambitious skyscrapers was already facing legal uncertainty, financial distress, and international arbitration battles, and that created a dangerous message for global investors. Because if a flagship project at the center of Malaysia's most prestigious financial district could fall into this level of conflict and instability, many companies began wondering what that said about the broader investment environment surrounding the country itself. By 2025, Exchange 106 was no longer just a skyscraper dominating the skyline of Kuala Lumpur. It had become something much larger, a symbol of the growing tension between Malaysia's enormous ambitions and the fragile trust holding those ambitions together. On paper, many of the fundamentals still looked promising. Tourism numbers were recovering compared to the devastating collapse during COVID-19. The surrounding TRX district continued attracting visitors, office activity, shopping traffic, and public transportation usage. Major infrastructure projects were functioning. New businesses were still opening nearby. From a distance, the financial district looked alive. But beneath the glowing exterior, serious concerns remained unresolved. According to the report, Malaysia was still struggling to fully recover international confidence years after the 1MDB scandal first exploded across global headlines. Investors, corporate executives, and financial institutions do not only evaluate buildings based on architecture or location, they evaluate political stability, legal predictability, and long-term trust. And the ongoing disputes surrounding Exchange 106 created exactly the kind of uncertainty many international investors try to avoid. The report points out that even though Malaysia's tourism numbers were improving, the country still remained below some of its pre-pandemic peaks. Government targets for international arrivals remained extremely ambitious, with plans to attract over 30 million visitors in the coming years as part of major tourism campaigns like Visit Malaysia 2026. But ambitious targets alone are not enough. Rebuilding trust after years of scandals, political instability, financial investigations, and legal disputes takes much longer than reopening airports or launching advertising campaigns. What makes the story of Exchange 106 so powerful is that the building itself is genuinely impressive. Its engineering, design, and scale are world-class. The tower remains one of the most visually striking skyscrapers in Southeast Asia. Yet despite all of that, the conversation surrounding the building rarely focuses only on architecture. Instead, people continue associating it with corruption investigations, financial disputes, receivership, and the unfinished legacy of 1MDB. And perhaps that is the biggest lesson buried inside this entire story. Skyscrapers can project power, wealth, and ambition into the sky, but they cannot erase the importance of governance, accountability, and public trust underneath them. According to the report, billions of dollars connected to 1MDB are still being recovered through international legal efforts even in 2025. The consequences of the scandal are still unfolding years later. Today, Exchange 106 still stands illuminated above Kuala Lumpur, visible from across the city. But instead of representing certainty and triumph, the tower now raises a more uncomfortable question for Malaysia's future. Can a nation truly build global confidence faster than it rebuilds trust in its own foundation? At first glance, Exchange 106 still looks like everything Malaysia once dreamed of becoming. Its illuminated crown dominates the skyline of Kuala Lumpur. Its glass exterior reflects the ambition of an entire nation, and its sheer scale continues to impress anyone who sees it for the first time. From a distance, it appears to be a symbol of modern success proof that Malaysia could stand beside the financial giants of Asia and compete on the global stage. But the deeper story behind the tower reveals something far more complicated. Because this was never just a building made of steel, concrete, and glass. It became a mirror reflecting the consequences of political ambition, financial scandal, broken trust, and the enormous risks of building national prestige faster than national stability. The rise of Exchange 106 was fueled by dreams of transforming Malaysia into a global financial powerhouse. But the tower's history became permanently tied to the shadow of the 1MDB scandal, one of the largest corruption cases in modern history. Then came COVID, which devastated tourism, emptied offices, and shattered economic expectations at the worst possible moment. And even after the pandemic began fading, the legal battles, financial disputes, and uncertainty surrounding the tower continued. Today, despite its world-class engineering and prime location, the building still carries unanswered questions about ownership, investor confidence, and Malaysia's international reputation. Yet the story is not entirely hopeless. Malaysia remains one of Southeast Asia's most culturally rich and naturally beautiful countries. Millions of tourists continue returning every year, and the economy is still recovering. But the story of Exchange 106 leaves behind a warning that reaches far beyond one skyscraper. Ambition alone is never enough to build lasting global confidence, because no matter how tall a tower becomes, the world will eventually look beyond the skyline and examine the foundation underneath it.